Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we are doing a reboxing of the McFarlane Alien vs. Predator Series 2 Queen Alien. So here we have it, guys, my first official go back to a figure I have already reviewed, not counting that 30-second review that I tried out. And, of course, as many of you may know, there's a very good reason for me re-reviewing this figure, is because as of this recording, this is up for the prize in my 1,000 subscribers contest. So please don't forget to check out that video and get your entries into the Facebook page by July 1st, 2013, and you'll have a chance to win this figure. But let's cut right to the chase and review the Queen. First up, the Queen comes with her display base. It's kind of that temple ground there with the bricks laid in. There's some alien goo and, of course, the 3 eggs on here. A little tiny, I think even to scale they're a little small, but they're not bad sculpts as you'd expect with McFarlane. They do a really good job of getting detail in there if nothing else, and they look pretty darn cool. They're kind of squishy rubbery, which is a little interesting. You can see here there's 2 peg holes that the Queen pegs into. It's kind of an irregularly shaped base, which is a little odd. I'm not really sure why they went that way, but you can see here there's little tabs in here, and I assume you could actually connect this to some of the other Alien vs. Predator figures. On the bottom, taped on, there's some little connector pieces. It looks like they'd slide in here and kind of go out and extend to another base. So I guess if you had more of these figures, you could make your own Alien vs. Predator diorama, which is kind of cool. And the plus side is, from what I've seen on eBay, these being the smaller scale AVP figures aren't nearly as hard to get and find and get for a good price as the 7-inch counterparts. As for the Queen herself, she is really well detailed. Everything you'd expect on the Queen. She's a beautiful glossy black plastic. There's a lot of blue dry brushing in there to bring out details and kind of give her more depth. Start from the feet. Here you can see she has metal poles coming out of the base of her feet that plugs right into the base and holds her in there. In my original review, I speculated that perhaps these might be magnetic enough that you guys should put magnets into the base and have her just kind of clamp down on it magnetically, and that way you can have her picking up a foot or something if you wanted. But still, it works for what it is as a display piece. The detailing is really good. It has that classic Queen high heel going on. There's a lot of that great Giger-esque detail going up the leg. By this point, you guys have heard me talk enough about Giger design between the Aliens figures, Prometheus figures. We've talked about that a lot here on this channel. She has her tail, which has a beautiful spine ridge going down through it. A nice spiked end here to stab Scar in the chest. Spoiler alert. I don't think anybody really cares at this point, but nice spiked tail there. On her back, she has these big spiked ridges. Now, these are a little different than the classic Queen from Aliens. These are much more regularly shaped. They're not as organic looking. It almost looks like little toadstools in here on the back ridge, but these are very, very sharp, very pointy, and very brittle. Definitely something you want to be careful with. And it wouldn't be a Giger-esque design if you couldn't look between the legs and see some weirdness going on there. I'm not even going to comment on that, but yeah, that's where the egg sac would probably attach. For her upper torso, we have some great rib cage biomechanical effect going on. She has her 2 little arms coming out of the chest here, both well detailed. And then she has her primary arms. They're very glossy black, all the extra fingers going on here, really cool looking. But the best part about this figure is the head sculpt. There's a nice looking neck on there, cool little head, definitely well done. It has silver teeth instead of the translucent, but still cool. You can see all the membrane inside. Just an absolutely cool Queen head sculpt. Really well done. Even has a little tongue going on back in the back of the throat. And then we have the crest on top of the head. The kind of triceratops looking thing here. But so cool. Of course, being the AVP Queen, is the big thing for her is that it's all acid scarred, blood scarred. has a hole in it where the chains were going in, where her minions broke her free. You can see these areas look like they've been worn off, burnt away. Really great paint detail. It just looks awesome. It's a great color for the alien blood on here. I just dig it overall. It looks really, really neat. And once again, it differentiates it from the standard Queen. For articulation, being a McFarlane figure, you're not going to have tons. The head is on, I wouldn't call it a ball joint. It's more of kind of the same thing you get on a lot of figures' shoulders. But it can kind of go up and down. You could rotate it. Just not tons of articulation, but enough to move it around some. You have a ball joint in the base of the neck, which really is only good for swiveling side to side. The up and down and side to side capabilities of it aren't that great. Up here at the shoulder, up and down, swivel. Not too bad. Nothing else through the arm. Chest arms do nothing. We have a swivel down here at the mid-torso abdomen area. Then we have ball joints down here at the hips, which are fairly useless. We could have just had a swivel here because you have to have her pegged to that base to make her stand. So being able to move these legs in and out and all that really doesn't do much. The only plus side is it means that if your figure got mildly warped in packaging or something, you're still going to be able to get them on the base just fine. You can move parts around. I know I have had some figures. I'm looking at you, McFarlane TX, where if anything's slightly warped, you cannot get them on the display base to save their life. And back here, the entire tail is bendy wire, which is pretty darn cool. I think that's kind of a necessary piece with any alien figures to be able to bend the tail any way you want it. And it doesn't really hurt the sculpt of it too much, which is even better. You're basically stuck doing this or going the expensive route of, say, the SH Monster Arts line with all the little individual segments. But this works just fine for a lower cost figure. Overall, I really do like this figure. She was an important piece to my collection before I got the larger McFarlane Queen. But she's still a great representation of a Queen alien, and if you can't get your hands on the more expensive piece, this is definitely a way to go. Now for a size comparison, I could bring in the larger McFarlane Queen, and we can see there is a big difference here. Definitely a large size difference between these two. And I gotta say, I can't really even tell you how large I think the NECA one's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be quite as big as McFarlane. It could be bigger, it could be smaller. We'll have to see when it comes out. Maybe at Comic-Con this year we'll get a vague idea of what we're going to get with that figure. I definitely don't think it detracts all that much from the little guy here. But as I said, this larger McFarlane one's hard to get your hands on, and really don't know how the NECA one's going to be availability-wise. It's still not a finished product as of this recording, so this AVP one's kind of a easier, cheaper way to get one into your collection. I paid about $30 for mine at a comic shop. And just for further size comparison, here's the NECA Xenomorph from Alien. And you can see, definitely not to scale with these, definitely shorter than the NECA one, and the McFarlane is on a display base. My original intent when I got this girl was literally to try to make some kind of diorama with my aliens and use kind of forced perspective to try to make her look a little larger than the other aliens. Don't know how well that would have worked. But as I said, it's still kind of cool to have a queen in your collection. So it's definitely a recommend for this queen. It would have been a lot stronger had she been at a better scale, a scale that I collect, but it's a good representation of the queen from AVP. I think it's a decent representation of a queen in general. She has a really good sculpt, really good paint apps. The articulation lacks a little bit, and she is stuck on her display base, but it's enough so that I could give her a recommend. I do like this figure, and I am excited for somebody to have the chance to win her and add her to their collection, because it's definitely a cool piece. As I said before, make sure you check out the contest before July 1st, 2013. I'll put a link below along with the link to the Facebook page, which you will need for the contest. And until next time, this has been another Outside the Box Reviews. Stay tuned for more to come.